We begin our look at each of the personality types with the 2. We begin here because the 2 is the first of the 3 members of the feeling center. The key word for 2s is pride. They are very caring people who give of themselves to others. The unspoken hope is that they will be acknowledged and thanked for the special efforts that they have taken. Listen to some typical statements 2s might make in various forms over and over again. They are pointers to the 2's habitual way of being.
I never liked being the front person, but I really enjoy working behind the scenes.
Sometimes people tell me they think I'm reading their minds, but I can just always tell what's going on with them.
I know I shouldn't have stayed up all night, but they needed me.
I really believe it's much better to give than to receive.
I'd like to get a massage, do something for myself, but I feel like I'm being selfish.
I do things all the time to show her that I love her, but she just seems to take me for granted.
I get so tired of taking care of other people all of the time.
I was just standing in the corner at this party, and this woman came over and started telling me her whole life story.
2s are the first member of the feeling center. As you will see, each personality type in each of the centers expresses the ruling motivation of their center differently. As members of the feeling center, 2s, 3s, and 4s all have issues with self-image. They strive to be valued by others. The 2 does this by being acutely aware of others' needs and doing everything possible to help. Here are some of the descriptive words used by teachers of the Enneagram to describe 2s. As you can tell, 2s love to do things for others. They feel that by doing for others, they are both expressing their feelings about the people they are helping and hoping that they will be loved and valued for their efforts. 2s are highly empathetic people. They are acutely aware of others' feelings, emotions, and needs. Sometimes this leads others to say that 2s are mind readers. This quality allows 2s to make friends easily. They are warm and generous people who will almost always do things for others before they will do things for themselves. 2s enjoy making people happy and throwing parties, but they will be the ones out in the kitchen working the whole time to make the party successful. When 2s look at themselves, they see themselves in relationship to others. They worry about how they have interacted with others and how that interaction will affect their relationship. Did they say too much or too little? Did they hurt someone's feelings or help them with a particular piece of advice? Because of this continual self-monitoring of their relationships, 2s have a very hard time saying no. They believe saying no will lessen their value in other people's eyes. Consequently, 2s can repress their true feelings and can ignore their own need to be given to and taken care of. They can overextend themselves and leave much of their personal work undone in favor of doing something for another. And when they do think of doing something for themselves, they can berate themselves for selfishness. 2s often feel that they are not as warm and caring for others as they should be, and they can suffer from low self-esteem. When 2s are under stress, they move toward the unhealthy characteristics of an 8. An unhappy 2 will become more controlling by taking charge of everyone and everything. They become irritable and quick to criticize both themselves and others. As they go further down this slippery slope by withholding the love and caring their friends and loved ones are used to, things get worse. They become more isolated, less trusting, and feel less loved. When 2s feel secure, they're more open to expressing their true feelings no matter what the consequences. They begin to say no and find ways other than helping people to improve their self-image. Once they have freed this energy, they can become more creative and even take the time to get to those lengthy to-do lists they always have. In other words, they move toward the healthy characteristics of a 4. The task for a 2 is to try to develop their own inner resources to care for themselves as well as they care for others, and to believe themselves worthy of being cared for.
Now we will look at personality type 3. The key word for 3s is deceit. Their primary focus in life is on success and appearance. They may not have succeeded at something they have tried, but they are going to appear both to the world and themselves that they have succeeded. Here are some typical statements threes make in various forms over and over again. They are pointers to the three's habitual way of being.
Sure, I'm competitive. Isn't everyone?
I never take a sick day. I have way too much to do to be sick.
I'm always careful about what I say. I don't like the taste of my own shoe leather.
I know my life isn't all I want it to be right now, but I'm not going to let that get me down.
Sure, I'll relax, but not right now. There are too many things on my plate.
My motto is, never let them see you sweat. I deal with my stuff in private.
I can deal with whatever you throw my way. Just tell me how you want me to act.
I could never let anyone get to know the real me. I don't trust anyone that much.
Threes are the second member of the feeling center. Like the twos, threes have issues with self-image. But while the two attempts to deal with their self-image issues by focusing on others' needs, threes focus on making themselves appear to be the epitome of what others need. Threes try to create a world that will make them look successful to themselves and in the eyes of others. They then do everything in their power to make that vision a reality. Here are the threes' descriptive words. As you can see, threes are driven by the need to perform. Threes feel that it is easier to be loved for their performance than it is to be loved for the self. Threes always strive to avoid both the appearance of and actual failure. As they strive to succeed, threes can appear to take on many shapes and attitudes. They are very adaptable in the many roles that they face in their lives, and they always want to play the role as best they can. They strive to be the most loving spouse, the most successful salesperson, and the best athlete. Doing so, they are prone to adopting the personality they perceive as being the best in each of the roles they play. Because they strive to be the best, threes are usually positive, outgoing, and friendly people. They enjoy being engaged with the world around them because the world is giving them clues about how they should present themselves. Threes are energetic people who are capable of doing many things at once and of doing them all well. They are good leaders who enjoy motivating people. They really put their heart in their work. Because of their high performance standards, threes may have trouble with workers they consider lazy, incompetent, or underproductive. Threes can have major difficulty with accessing their true self. Threes are very prone to exchanging their true identity with the identity they have created around their performance, whether that is at home, at work, or in the community. They tend to be instant experts about everything, even if they have little or no knowledge on the subject. Free time is scary to threes who prefer to have around-the-clock activity. Even vacations are scheduled for constant activity. And this constant activity can be exhausting. It is tiring to always have to perform. When threes are under stress, they move toward the negative aspects of 9. They refuse to perform. They become indecisive and put things off. They fill their time with useless and non-productive activity. They become apathetic and very touchy about people who suggest that they may be doing less than their best. When threes are secure, they move to the positive side of 6. They spend more time disengaged from performance. They will spend more time with family and friends. They let go of their constant need to perform for themselves and begin to look out for the best of whichever group they are working with. And as they let down their performance guard, they begin to get a look at their true self.
Next, we will look at personality type 4. The key descriptive word for 4s is envy. Their primary feeling in life is that if they just had something, some quality, or someone else with them, everything would be all right. As they focus more and more on what they don't have, they can often ignore the many assets, skills, and extraordinary talent they do possess. Watch these typical statements 4s make in various forms over and over again. They are pointers to the 4's habitual way of being.
Of course, some people who see me think I'm eccentric. I like unusual things.
I enjoy looking inside myself, trying to find the meaning to my life.
I always trust my intuition.
My heart is just a jumble of feelings, and because of that, I'm not sure how to answer.
I'm often surprised by what people think they see in me. Can't they tell what's going on inside me?
I knew she'd leave me. I've known it since the first time I met her.
Sometimes I just like being sad.
To me, One of the most beautiful things on earth is to see a spectacular sunrise on the beach. It really is a spiritual experience. Sometimes I think my heart will burst with joy.
4s are the final member of the feeling center. While 2s express their concerns about self-image outwardly by helping others, and 3s dealt with self-image by driving themselves to perform to their perception of others' ideals, 4s deal with their self-image issues internally. By focusing on themselves, 4s are able to create an internal, idealistic version of their lives. This idealistic version frequently enhances their need for uniqueness and their desire to feel special. Here are the 4's descriptive words. As you can tell, 4s are frequently what people describe as an artistic personality. Their intense introspection leads to flights of fancy, creativity, and a wonderful flair for the dramatic. It can also lead to moodiness, inactivity, and depression. 4s are the Enneagram type most prone to intense introspection. Their hardwired emotionality lets them connect easily and deeply with themselves. This ability sometimes gives 4s the sense that they are special and unique individuals. Their intense introspection makes 4s very empathetic. They are easily affected by their surroundings and can pick up on the emotional vibe of a room as soon as they walk in the door. This high sensitivity to the emotional world around them can make them very responsive and supportive friends. But they often feel that no one can understand them as well as they understand others. 4s long for the things they can't have, a lost love, an expensive car, or a house in the country. But if those things should come into their possession, the 4 will soon begin to push that person or thing away. 4s can take pleasure in the sadness of longing. They often feel that their suffering sets them apart. When a 4 finally feels understood by another, they will frequently become extremely attached, almost codependently so, and they fear abandonment by these special people. 4's introspection can have a devastating effect on their self-image. A misunderstanding or a personal slight can leave a 4 feeling deeply hurt and obsessing over the circumstances that caused it. When 4s are under stress, they move toward the negative side of 2. They become dependent. They cover up or deny their own needs. They begin to act out their suffering in the hope that someone will come in to rescue them, and in the process satisfy the longing for love and connection that 4s believe will fill their emptiness. When 4s feel secure, they move toward the positive side of 1. They begin to leave their world of introspection and participate more willingly in the world around them. They turn their considerable talents to finding creative, practical solutions to the problems they face. They find more things to be positive about and become less controlled by their feelings. 4s who learn how to externalize their feelings and connect with others' goals and needs will find themselves more fulfilled.
Now we will look at personality type 5. The key word for 5s is greed. They feel that there is not enough of them to go around. So rather than expending themselves in the world, they hoard themselves and their resources. Here are some typical statements 5s make in various forms over and over again. They are pointers to the 5's habitual way of being.
When I am making a decision, I need time alone to research and decide.
I learn best through study and research. I want to know all I can before I try something.
I don't know how she thought I meant it that way. Why do people always personalize things?
Why does the board keep wasting its time on all this frivolous stuff? Let's get on with the important decisions.
Sure, I'll talk to people at this party, but only if they talk to me first.
If there's a new book out there, I want to have it. I want to have all the information I need at my fingertips.
I like to spend time by myself, in my own place, exploring the things that I want to explore.
Some people think I'm negative and cynical, but if they'd just done the research that I've done, they'd see things my way.
5s are the first member of the thinking center. While members of the feeling center are concerned with self-image, members of the thinking center are concerned with maintaining a secure sense of self. Just as in the feeling center, Each of the three types in the thinking center presents their concern with sense of self to the world differently. Members of this group are concerned with feelings of fear, inadequacy, and emptiness. Fives confront this assault on the self through introspection and self-reliance. Here are some of the descriptive words used to describe fives. As you can see, fives love to intellectualize things. Nothing would make a five happier than facing a big research project with a library full of books and a super-fast modem at their disposal. Most fives enjoy quiet solitude or the company of a few close friends. Big meetings, especially meetings that never seem to end, parties, and large social gatherings exhaust fives. They need privacy and time alone to recharge their batteries. Fives enjoy watching life from a distance. They feel this distance gives them an intellectual objectivity. This objectivity serves them in many ways. They have a finely developed sense of integrity that can sometimes lead to obstinacy. They work willingly at what they think is right, but will make little effort to do things with which they don't agree. Fives enjoy understanding how things work and why. They are seldom interested in collecting possessions for status' sake, but they are often avid collectors of the things they study. Very rarely do fives get caught up in external measures of social standing. In work and at home, they prefer having responsibilities clearly spelled out, specific agreements, and a precise plan of action. Despite the self-imposed distance from the things around them, fives are acutely aware of their place in the world, if only so they can maintain their distance from it. They sometimes have trouble expressing themselves, and they're often complicated ideas. When explaining these ideas, they frequently lecture rather than converse. When under stress, fives move toward the negative side of 7. Instead of maintaining their intellectual rigor, they take on whatever project or interest that ends up in front of them. They lose their focus and become easily distracted. When fives are feeling secure, they move toward the positive side of 8. They begin to put their usually abstract thoughts into action. They are more willing to engage in the world rather than to continue watching as it unfolds around them. They take more risks, argue more effectively for the things they are passionate about, and are less reluctant to take leadership roles. The challenge for a five is to let go of the illusion that the world is an objective set of facts to master, and to learn to engage more emotionally and passionately with others and with life.
Next, we will look at personality type 6. The key word for sixes is fear. When a 6 wakes up in the morning, they see a world that is full of uncertainty. This fear of the unknown colors their every movement and thought. Here are some typical statements 6s make in various forms over and over again. They are pointers to the 6's habitual way of being.
I work hard and am very organized. I have a plan for everything, even when I'm going to relax.
I love getting up in the morning with a complete schedule of things to do and places to go.
How could they be so irresponsible? They told me they'd do it, and then they blew me off.
Sure, I'll decide. I just want to check with a couple of people first.
The way I figure it, it is my family, my community, and my job first. Everything else finishes a distant second.
I like having things clean and organized. It helps me think.
Just give me a yes or no answer. I don't want to hear about all the complicating factors.
Just tell me what you want me to do and when you want it done by. Do what you think is not a good enough direction for me.
6s are the second member of the thinking center. While 5s preserve their sense of self and the world by focusing inward, 6s try to deal with their feelings of fear, inadequacy, and emptiness by withdrawing from the world and going into themselves, or by engaging with the world when their internal fears become too much to handle. Here are the 6's descriptive words. As you can tell, 6s like the predictability and comfort of the internal life as well as 5s, but they are also willing to engage with the world. 6s inhabit both worlds and can find both unbearable. 6s are the questioners of the Enneagram. There is little that a 6 will not examine. And 6 stands alone in the Enneagram circle in that there are 2 common expressions of this personality type. Both types of 6 are defined by how they cope with their reaction to their fear. When humans experience fear, they react in one of 2 ways, either fight or flight. 6s divide in the same way. Remember, their key word is fear. The phobic 6 reacts to life in a frightened way, through flight. The counterphobic 6 reacts to his or her fear in a confrontational way. She or he fights. But in both cases, 6s are reacting to life through their common filter of fear. Counterphobic 6s constantly question motives. They want answers and reasons. They are especially suspicious of authority. They are often the first ones to rebel against authority, who will begin the work of changing the way things are. They will often work diligently to support the underdog. Counterphobic 6s enjoy and foster their nonconformist image. Phobic 6s, on the other hand, like rules and predictable outcomes. Neatness and order help keep them comfortable and secure. This allows them to keep their radar ever searching for the disaster they are sure is right over the horizon. 6s have big dreams, but they frequently spend so much time in their heads that these dreams are left half completed. This head time can lead to indecision and procrastination. Their history of incomplete projects does little to boost their confidence and can lead them to fear the limelight. Failure is so much more obvious when you are the person standing out in front of a cause. 6s can be engaging and entertaining people. They often are very skilled in technical areas and good with detail and interpretation. They are frequently the people who will keep a meeting on track and provide the energy necessary to bring projects to completion. This can make them exceptional problem solvers and, of course, social critics. When 6 is under stress, they take on the traits of the negative side of 3. To ease the overwhelming anxiety they feel, stressed 6s will make themselves incredibly busy trying not to allow the fear to seep in. They withdraw even further into their routine and rules, refusing to look beyond their familiar territory. And, like a 3, will assume a false persona to help them hide from themselves. Stressed 6s can bully their way through with sheer bravado and self-deception. When 6 feels secure, they move toward the positive side of 9. They open themselves to new things, people, and possibilities. They take off the limitations that over-questioning can cause. Secure 6s begin to cut themselves a break by taking life less seriously and by putting their trust in themselves and their abilities.
Now we will look at personality type 7. The key word for 7s is gluttony. They crave the new and exciting experience in the hope that their constant activity will fill their emptiness. Watch these typical statements 7s make in various forms over and over again. They are pointers to the 7's habitual way of being.
Nothing could be more horrible than going to the same place every day and doing the same thing over and over again.
Let's just leave the time open. Then we can both have flexibility.
I always get silly when I'm under stress. I deal with tension by cracking a joke.
Oh, sure I'll be there. I just don't know when.
I can talk to just about anybody about just about anything. That's why people like to invite me to their parties.
I'm usually the hit of the party, but I never feel that people see the real me.
I know that they think that I'm talented, but I don't like the pressure that puts on me.
If there's something new out there, I want to do it. There's nothing worse than another night at home alone.
7s are the final member of the thinking center. The first member of the center, the 5, deals with concerns about sense of self by withdrawing internally. The 6 deals with these same issues by venturing out into the world, and when that gets to be too much, retreating into a private refuge. The 7 completes the thinking center by dealing with their concerns about their self-image, completely out in the world. Here are some of the 7's descriptive words. As you can see, 7s have a passion for the new things, experiences, and feelings in life. They are nearly insatiable in this need. By filling their life with sensation, they are able to convince themselves that they are truly engaged in life, and that they are so busy they must be interesting, exciting, and valuable people. 7s do not let life get them down. There is always something or someone new and interesting right around the corner. They fill their lives with the search for the ultimate experience. They are spontaneous. and have an intense dislike for rules and limitations. They enjoy being out in front and pushing the envelope. The more stimulation, the better. This leads them to involvement in many different things at once. 7s are interested in almost everything. They tend to be generous both with their time and their money, provided the reward is engaging. 7s are so interested in being externally stimulated that it can lead to lack of follow-through and incompletion. They lose interest in projects that they are involved in when the initial excitement has faded, and they are soon off to the next interest. 7s' idealized life is so strong they could have a problem separating reality from their thoughts. To them, once they have thought about doing something, they consider it done, whether they have in reality actually completed the task. They love the planning and are great at it, but not the execution. 7s are generalists who do not have enough time to do all of the things they are interested in. These broad interests provide cover, so they do not have to engage in real life. They focus on soothing themselves and avoiding their own pain. This trait often makes 7s vulnerable to substance abuse problems. They do not like to look at the pain they see in others. They can become terrified when their usual approach to life, their glibness and social acumen, doesn't work. When 7s are under stress, they move toward the negative side of 1. They lose their easygoing nature and become rigid. They blame others for their unhappiness, become critical of everything around them, and focus on the details. They lose the ability to see possibilities in the world that surrounds them. When 7s feel secure, they move toward the positive side of 5. They become more introspective. They are willing to look at their fears and are willing to become more serious. They stop looking at the world as only shades of gray and to become more willing to take and defend a position.
Next, we will look at the personality type 8. The key word for 8s is lust. No, 8s are not the sexual superstars of the Enneagram. 8s lust after intense engagement with every facet of their life. Listen to these typical statements 8s make in various forms over and over again. They are pointers to the 8's habitual way of being.
If you have something to say, just tell me. Don't beat around the bush.
I know how to get things done. You just have to know the right people to take things to.
I always look out for the little guy.
The worst things about committees is that they can never make a decision. I make my decision first and then tell them about it later.
I'm always looking out for people with hidden agendas.
I love to argue about things. You can just feel the energy in the room heat up.
I'm a natural leader. I think I've been in charge of every project I've ever been involved with.
Sure, I'm intense. I have strong feelings about the things that I believe in. People just have to take me the way I am.
8s are the first member of the instinctive center. The 8, 9, and 1 are the members of this center. They all have issues with boundaries. Members of the instinctive center want to have influence on the world. They are in a constant struggle to preserve their sense of self from the influence of the world around them. When 8s engage in the world, they do so from a position of power. They are defending their sense of self from the assaults from outside. Here are some of the descriptive words used by teachers of the Enneagram to describe 8s. As you can tell, 8s live their life large. They want to engage in life. This engagement provides them with their energy. 8s are frequently thought of as being overly aggressive and forceful. But for them, this is only an expression of their lust for life. 8s are independent and self-reliant people. They use the force of their personality to control the people and space around them. They say what they think and are willing to take direct and immediate action to get the things they want or need. They will actively support the causes they believe in. They are true and loyal friends and enjoy the give and take of even vigorous discussion. Because they are straight shooters, 8s can overwhelm people. They have a tendency to want to do things their way. But unlike 1s, who also share this tendency, 8s are willing to discuss other options, if you dare to get on the playing field with them. 8s take control of their lives so others will not try to control them. They can be impatient with others' incompetence and can put too much pressure on themselves to perform. 8s are always testing the limits of the rules and situations that surround them. They find rules limiting. While they are generous in their support of close friends, they can resent it if that support is not acknowledged and have a very hard time forgiving slights or perceived injuries. When 8s are under stress, they take on the negative traits of a 5. They withdraw from their involvement in the world and move into their heads. They give up on their battles even before they have begun, and when they are down, feel that their friends will leave them, or worse, take control over them. They lose touch with themselves. When 8s feel secure, they move to the positive side of 2. They give more of themselves and less of their persona. They talk openly and deeply to friends and family. They're willing to show their loving, gentle, and caring underside instead of the battle-hardened exterior they usually present to the world. As they become more loving, they truly care more about the welfare of others. They can change from the leader to the defender.
Now we will look at personality type 9. The key word for 9s is sloth. As they make their way through life, 9s would like to remain peaceful and unruffled, rather than engage fully within it. The 9's motto is, "Don't rock the boat." Here are some typical statements 9s make in various forms over and over again. They are pointers to the 9's habitual way of being.
I hate arguments. Sometimes I just have to get up and leave the room.
I have so much to do. I'm going to bed.
I know when to keep my mouth shut. I generally let the other guy do the talking.
I like things simple and easy. I don't need to complicate my life with intrigue.
People like me. I'm easy to get along with, friendly, and pretty easy to talk to.
I enjoy problem solving. I love it when I can find an easy answer to a tough problem.
I generally do what I want. It doesn't bother me to be doing things on my own outside of the group.
I love being outside. Walking through the woods is almost a spiritual experience.
9s are the second member of the instinctive center. In their attempt to preserve their sense of self, 9s generally choose to remain passive. 9s consider both internal and external stimulation a threat, and deal with this threat by repressing their energy. They do not engage the world like the 8, nor will they deal with their internal struggle like the 1. Here are some of the descriptive words used to describe 9s. As you can see, 9s want to keep the life around them calm, peaceful, and uneventful. They would really prefer that nothing never ever disturb them. And yet, when this type is engaged, usually through someone else's encouragement, they can be powerhouses. Unlike 1s who see life in terms of black and white, 9s live their lives in the shades of gray. There is always a flip side for everything for 9s. This perception tends to make them very non-judgmental and accepting of others. They are frequently the people others go to mediate a problem or facilitate a discussion. 9s try to live their lives as if nothing would disturb them. They would rather go along with the group decision, even if they didn't agree with it, than express their disagreement or displeasure. 9s fear their anger because they fear it will make them lose their sense of connection with those around them. Like the 2, 9s tend to merge with others. 9s do so that others will provide them with the energy and enthusiasm that they are reluctant to expend on themselves. 9s have a hard time saying no, and they can feel taken advantage of when they are asked too frequently. Rather than be confrontational, 9s express their anger by delaying or through passive-aggressive behavior. 9s have a hard time making decisions, especially personal ones. When faced with a tough decision, they will procrastinate and avoid rather than choose. They would rather stay with the familiar than expend the energy needed to face the unknown. When 9s are under stress, they take on the negative traits of 6. They procrastinate, even more than normal, and are paralyzed by overanalysis and indecision. They become rigid and timid, unwilling to move out of the situation, even though it is the situation that is causing them the stress. When 9s feel secure, they move toward the positive side of 3. They feel more comfortable with putting themselves out in front. They take efficient action and gain more self-confidence in themselves and their abilities. They live less through others and make decisions about their lives more easily.
Our final stop on this tour of Enneagram personality types is the 1. The key word for 1s is anger. They are keenly aware of what they perceive to be wrong with themselves and the world, but they are unwilling to express their anger at the world's imperfection because they fear losing others' respect and love. Watch these typical statements 1s make in various forms over and over again. They are pointers to the 1's habitual way of being.
I get resentful when somebody tells me I've done something wrong.
You know that little critic voice in your head? I can't get mine to shut up. Just once I wish it would stop so I could relax.
I really wish I had done that differently.
I don't buy anything without checking with Consumer Reports first. I always research everything I buy.
I have a to-do list for everything. Sometimes I even have making a list on my list.
If they would only play by the rules instead of breaking them, they would be doing better.
If you want something done right, you should do it yourself.
Why don't people just do things right the first time?
1s are the final member of the instinctive center. Like the 8s and 9s, 1s have issues with boundaries and their sense of self. They are in a constant struggle to preserve their sense of self from the influence of the world around them. When 1s engage in the world, they do so from an internal point of view. Everything in a 1's world is judged from an internal set of standards. 1's engagement with the world is designed to preserve a sense of self by building up their worth and value as they try to make everything around them conform to their vision of how it should be. Here are some of the descriptive words for 1s. As you can tell, 1s are opinionated self-starters who are frequently out in the lead on family and work projects. 1s continually look at themselves in relation to their surroundings and their situation. They are continually evaluating their place in the world. 1s are highly opinionated people. They see the world around them as flawed and work continually to try and fix it. Because they cannot control the outside world, they work very hard at controlling the things they can control. Consequently, they are very self-disciplined. They are hard workers. They consider their decisions thoroughly and use their particular high ethical and moral standards as the basis of their decision-making. 1s often think in terms of oughts, shoulds, or musts. 1s tend to be highly creative people when they are focused on a specific problem or task. And because of their high work standards and their willingness to push themselves to complete whatever task they are focused on, 1s can be inspirational leaders and co-workers. But if they are involved in a project, they often can find interruptions and needless gossiping aggravating. They prefer to work alone and to remain on task. They are very organized people who come to meetings prepared and are ready to defend their opinions stubbornly. Because 1's standards are so high, they are often disappointed with themselves and others. They have a very strong internal critic that is constantly giving them feedback about everything. 1s have a very difficult time letting go of things, and perhaps because of their internal critic, have an opinion about everything. 1s tend to take things too seriously, obsess about decisions they have or haven't made, feel that others are not working as hard as they are, and feel that others are not acknowledging them for their hard work and contributions that they have made. 1s are keenly aware of discrimination, especially if either reflects badly on their work or standards. When 1s are under stress, they move to the negative side of 4. They become upset that people are not acknowledging their efforts. They get mad at themselves, and this anger leads to feelings of depression. They always want the things that are on the other side of the fence and despair over getting it, and they feel unloved and unlovable. When 1s feel comfortable and secure, they move to the positive side of 7. They are enthusiastic and upbeat. They don't beat themselves up. They become more accepting and less critical of themselves and others. They listen less to the critic in their head and become more accepting of the world as it is around them. And when they are secure, ones plan more activities that are fun rather than work or improvement related.